Yeah, so what are some things that you thought went well with the lesson?
Okay. Uh, let's start in terms of standard one, since I need to go over standard one, two, and three.
Yeah.
Uh,
So with the learner
yeah,
development, right?
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think I designed appropriate task that match student grade level, um, and based on some prior knowledge that I already taught previously. I think I used step by step modeling, some visual representation, and
Mm-hmm.
real life example to support the students' cognitive development and understanding. However, after reviewing the video, I noticed that few students need more time to process the steps when uh, it was surprise for me because they didn't know how to divide decimal with decimal. So it took me few time to re-explain this concept. Uh, yeah. Um, and
I noticed that as well.
yeah,
I was going to bring that up. Yeah, I thought, yeah, you had great, everything step by step, the visuals, but I did notice that the kids had a lot of uh, questions about that.
yeah,
The division, like when
division.
I'm using division, how I'm using division, how I'm
Correct.
using
Yeah,
multiplication.
yeah.
And then I was going to ask about if it was necessary to have it tax and tip in the same lesson, or if
Uh,
maybe they
to be
could be
honest, yeah,
until the kids have a better
yeah,
understanding
yeah.
of like all those operations.
Yeah, to be honest, I started with tax at the beginning, and another
Yeah,
lesson I moved to tips.
to tip.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because I wanted them to take enough time to process the concept.
yeah,
Yeah, and give them the examples that they need to apply.
right.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, Regarding standard, um, let's talk about standard two,
The
the
learning
learning
differences.
differences. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I, I differentiated instruction by providing scaffolding. So the warm up, what do you wonder, what do you notice, the
Mm-hmm.
guided notes, and additional support for students who need help with the calculation, the division, the percent calculation, as we mentioned, how to set up the proportion, how to apply cross multiplication. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and I use the clear language, visual
Mm-hmm.
with the examples to support English language learners and students with varying levels of
Mm-hmm.
readiness. I think I would, so in the future, I would do more differentiation for the students or prepare extension problems for advanced learners. So because I
Mm.
had a lot of early finishers, so I might take this in
Ah,
consideration for later.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. So instead of that side,
yeah,
the scaffolding support on this side, you're
yeah,
thinking the
yeah,
other side,
yeah.
like I need more extension for those kids that are,
Because yeah,
they
even if
got
they
it,
did
got it,
not,
got it.
yeah, even if they did not mention in the online, but I'm 100% sure that some students they finished early and they're just helping their friends. So yeah, it would be a nice addition for my lesson.
Okay, okay, yeah, I could see that because you did. I did notice you had the kids that in one of the breakout rooms that you were helping. Yeah, they were very engaged, and you were definitely meeting their learning needs because some had this question, that question. I also did like appreciate how one kid was even asking about Riyadh
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah,
what is the sales tax in
correct.
Riyadh,
Yeah, yeah,
like bringing that back to the
yeah, to
real,
real life.
and
Yeah.
they use VAT, which in the United States we don't have VAT.
Yes.
So I thought that was a nice pivot,
Yeah, yeah.
with that student. And one thing for the learner differences that I just would maybe recommend on the part that I was watching when you had task one and task two. you know, and they were doing the city, what's the percent city tax on this one and this one. I'm just wondering if it was two different slides.
Yeah, actually, I had to. They were split it into different slides, but
Yeah.
on the document that I shared with the students to work on,
Yeah.
yeah, it was both
Right.
in this on the same
Oh, okay,
document.
yeah. So that was just
Yeah.
one thing I noticed, that as a
Yeah.
learner,
Yeah,
looking at all of
yeah,
that,
it might be
it would,
confusing. Yeah, a little
yeah.
bit. You're right.
And then, of course, next week we're going to be back in person, so this will be much easier
Yeah,
than trying to
I
do
hope
all
so.
of this online.
Yeah,
Okay, yes,
definitely,
of course.
definitely. All right. Regarding
And
standard three, the learning environment.
environment, uh-huh.
Yeah, as I mentioned before, I already know my students and they're very respectful. I think I created an inclusive and engaging online classroom environment where students they always felt comfortable to ask questions
Yes.
and sharing their ideas. Uh, yeah, and you know, the group activity, the communication, the collaboration. I think this maintained the student motivation. Uh, yeah, so
Yeah, because
student,
they were proud when they got it. A
yeah,
couple of kids, I
yeah,
heard them, oh, I got it now. I got it now. I heard a couple of
yeah,
kids actually
yeah,
say that,
yeah. No, I got it.
right?
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah. So yeah, and then a learning environment in an online situation is obviously very
yeah,
different than
yeah,
in your classroom. But yeah, like the use of breakout rooms.
yeah.
Is there anything you would change? Like, were you happy with the groupings or?
To be honest, I like the grouping because you know the students they help each other and they show collaboration, but I will not. I'm not able to be with everyone at the same time,
Yeah.
right?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, because I'm like juggling. I have to be with this group, then move to the second group. Yeah, and
And that's a challenge with the breakout rooms,
you're
right? Because
right.
it's not like being in the classroom where.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah, or
Yeah.
for example, I'm getting a question from a student, and I want to just turn the students' attention for a concept. I can say, "Hey, class, your friend was asking about this. I just want to make sure that you got this, this, and this." Yeah,
Right.
so
Right.
online is
Yeah.
different. Yeah,
Yeah, online is a bit different, but it looks like you were handling it really well, and the kids seemed engaged and getting it. Like I said, the thing with the learner development, I guess it would fall under learner development and learning differences. It was interesting. There was some confusion, like between the video explaining how you know figure it this way, and then when the kids, like you
yeah,
said, when they were applying, like where do I divide? What am I dividing?
exactly.
And then
Yeah,
I'm multiplying. Then I'm using addition. So maybe breaking that apart a little more would be a suggestion.
yes, yes. Maybe with more practice, the coming sessions will do this better. I hope so.
Yeah, I think you should definitely revisit it and,
Correct. Yeah.
but you know, like you said, they were getting it. It just was slightly confusing.
Yeah. Thank you for the feedback, and I'll take this into consideration.
Of
And
course, of
thank you
course.
so much. Thank you.
Yeah.